of the Shared Services Joint Committee. We welcome everyone. My name's Colin Jackson. I'll be chairing today's meeting. Can I remind everyone that we're going to be live streaming today? I think everyone's been made aware of the protocols. Can I ask you all to adhere to these, please? First of all, do we have any apologies or substitutions?
We have apologies. We have apology from Councillor Alan Moore, Eastern Bartonshire, Councillor Vaughan Moody, Eastern Bartonshire, Councillor Andrew Paulson, Eastern Bartonshire, Chief Executive and Deputy Chief Executive Anne Davey, and Chief Executive Jerry Collins of Eastern Bartonshire, Provost William Henry, and Councillor Lawrence O'Neill from Western Bartonshire. Okay, thanks, Anne. Do we have any declarations of interest? I haven't received any. Do we have any? No, none. Everybody shaking their head, no. Okay, can we have the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting? Everybody approve the minutes?
Happy to approve.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Graham. Next item on the agenda is item number 4, is changes to the procedural standing orders of the Shared Services Joint Committee. Anne, I believe you're going to read to this.
Thank you, Chair. As you know, this report has been brought to update the committee in light of developments following the withdrawal of Eastern Bartonshire Council, and to ask the Joint Shared Services Committee to consider changes to the procedural standing orders of the committee to enable the committee to continue. Paragraph 2.3 and paragraph 4.1 of the report sets out the background behind Eastern Bartonshire Council, indicating that they wish to withdraw from the committee. And you'll see in terms of 4.2 that in relation to the minute of agreement, there is a condition that if a member authority wanted to withdraw, they would require to give 18 months notice in writing to that effect. Section or paragraph 4.3 of the report sets out that the Chief Solicitor and Monitoring Officer of Eastern Bartonshire Legal and Democratic Services wrote to both, it was actually Western Bartonshire Council and it reads Eastern Bartonshire, but it should of course read Inverclyde Council, intimating the intention to withdraw from the committee and sought agreement to the council, both councils, to waive the period of notice. Paragraph 4.4 of the report sets out that both member authorities have written to Eastern Bartonshire Council confirming that they agree to the request that the 18-month notice period should be waived, and accordingly it's my view and the view of legal officers at Western Bartonshire Council that Eastern Bartonshire Council have now withdrawn from the shared services agreement. You'll note that there are no changes proposed to the minute of agreement at this time, and the reason for that is there is provision in the existing minute of agreement for the agreement to subsist for such periods as the parties, or at least two of them, shall continue to participate in a shared service. And it's for that reason, along with the fact that we're coming up to a local government election in May, that both local authorities, Western Bartonshire and Inverclyde, have taken the view that it would not be prudent to start to revise the minute of agreement at this time. Members of the committee will be aware that there is a condition in relation to appointment of a chair and vice chair, and in terms of the agreement, these positions would be appointed for a period of 2 years, and this would not be a great time to put that provision in place. Councillor Jackson has taken up his position as chair in accordance with the existing agreement, and as the agreement is now revised, it's proposed that Councillor McLaren would continue on the committee as vice chair if he has no objection to that. I think I should just highlight some of the key changes to the procedural standing orders. Members will see that we've taken a rather light approach, so we've tried not to interfere with the standing orders where necessary. However, in terms of clause 5, we have deleted provision that meetings must be located within the boundaries of the Secretariat Authority in ordinary course, and the reason for that is to permit online meetings to take place. And again, in clause 7b, there's a deletion of the consent of any member being necessary in order to accept delivery of notices by electronic mail. And the reason for this is just to enable emails to be standard practice, as of course they are. Section 8 of the standing orders deals with membership and quorum, and the only change is to paragraph 8d in relation to the quorum of the joint committee. Previously the committee had 12 members, and now the committee is comprised of 8 members, 4 from each member authority. The quorum is 1/3 of the 8, and as that figure is 2.3, then 3 members will be necessary in order to form a quorum, and the condition remains that at least 1 member must be from each member authority. In Standing Order 11A, there is now an insertion that a link to any online meeting will be published on each member authority's website, and again that's to facilitate the use of online meetings. And if I can just draw to your attention Standing Order 13 regarding chair and vice chair, this confirms that each member authority in turn shall hold the position of chair, with each subsequent chair being from the member authority from whom the previous vice chair was selected, and accordingly that will enable the committee to continue with the arrangements that we're proposing are put in place today. And finally, I would draw to your attention the new insertion of Standing Order 13J, which states that it shall be the responsibility of the chair, whom failing the vice chair, to determine whether any meeting of the joint committee shall be held in person or a hybrid model or remotely. And finally, the last main change to the standing order is in relation to the use of video conferencing, and it's just confirming that meetings can be conducted in any way in which each member can communicate with the other, for example by video conferencing. Thank you. Hopefully I've covered everything. I'm seeking the approval of the committee today. I'm asking you to note these procedural changes, and I'm asking you to consider approving the proposed revisals to the standing orders. Happy to take any questions you may have.
Right. Thank you, Anne. I should have reminded members that if they want to ask a question, if you could put it in the chat function, please. Graham, you have a question for Anne?
Yeah, thanks very much, Chair. I'm happy to support the proposals that are laid before us, but it's just a question for Anne or maybe other officers. So the 18 months notice period stipulated in the minute of agreement, this is the first time we've come to require to use that, and we've immediately waived it. So I'm just trying, why was it in there in the first place? Was it to protect something that no longer is protected?
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. You'll recall that it was in fact a decision of Inverclyde Council's full council meeting to agree to this provision, and hence we agreed to waive the period of notice. I could only speculate as to why that condition was inserted in the minute of agreement at the outset. I wasn't a party, or I wasn't involved in the drafting of the minute of agreement. It's possible that the drafters had foreseen a situation where perhaps there was a greater degree of shared services, and perhaps there would be more to unpick. But in fact, at the point at which East Dunbartonshire Council intimated they were drawing, they were not actually party to any shared service.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks, Graham. Any more questions? No. Can we note the terms and agree the recommendations? Right, thank you. Agenda item 4 is 5 is roads, transportation, fleet waste and ground services update. Gail, I believe this is over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. So this report sets out both the authorities' delivery plans and activities being undertaken by roads, waste, fleet and ground services during the year that we're in currently. The plans are contained for information in the appendices to the report. As the plans are developed for the year ahead, opportunities will consider to be explored for collaboration, particularly in some of our key projects that are being delivered, sharing that knowledge and experience between the two authorities. As the plans continue to be delivered and developed, monitoring and review is carried out. In addition, item 4.10 in the report sets out some detail in the delivery of the services through the pandemic. It also sets out that there has been benefit to being a shared service in the fact that we've been able to challenge and develop risk assessments and safe methods of working together, which has ensured that actually our services were one of the first services to recommence nationally, particularly in the roads environment. So the report also sets out details on the interim grounds management model that is currently in place, and also sets out the locality-based service delivery. This has been developed through review and monitoring post-implementation of the interim grounds management model, and the split is contained within the report for detail. It continues to be monitored, and if tweaks are required, we will continue to review whether it should be amended. However, we have reviewed, and that split has been shaped through feedback both from the managers themselves that are involved within the management model, but also from the workforce. And in addition, a roads manager commenced in Western Berkshire Council at the tail end of last year. So there is now a roads manager in post. I'm happy to take any questions.
Have you any questions? Nothing at all for Gail? We note the recommendations approved. Oh, sorry, Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, I think you're on mute.
Chair, Councillor McVeigh has a question.
All right, sorry, Tommy. Question for yourself.
Yep, sorry, Chair, I was a wee bit slow typing that in
No,
there. Just a question for Gail. The report talks about sharing knowledge, experience, collaboration, resilience, all the buzzwords, but shared services, in my eyes, is designed to the bottom line for me is we make savings, we work together. So when are we going to get some figures on that? How much have we saved since this has been going on, and how much do we anticipate to save in the next 3 to 5 years? Because that's what we were told, and I understand there's been a couple of changes at management level, but is that what we're trying to achieve here, or can we not achieve it? Has the discussions we've had with the various parties brought us to the conclusion that we can't save a lot? So I would just like a clear understanding, and if it is the case that we're going to make savings, I would really like to have that laid out with some facts and figures against it, and I'm just looking for some clarification.
Thank you, Councillor, and through you, Chair. As the shared services continue to be developed and implementation has continued, there has been changes that have been made to the delivery of the model. However, there have been savings that have been made, and there are potential future savings. And our report will be brought back to Council that sets those out. It'll set out in detail the story to date, but also the path ahead.
Okay, thanks, Gail. When will that come to committee?
I would anticipate that would be likely within 6 months or so.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Tommy. Is anybody else getting more questions for Gail? No. We're happy to note the recommendations. Do we agree? Okay, thank you, Gail. Next item on the agenda, item number 6, is the internal audit and fraud services update. Who's taking this one?
That will be myself, Chair Andy Priestman.
Okay, right, thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Chair. So this report provides members with an update on progress in relation to the shared management approach for internal audit and fraud services across both Western Bartonshire and Inverclyde councils. An action plan was presented to the December 2020 meeting of the committee, which set out the short and medium term actions for internal audit and fraud teams going forward. The latest update on the action plan is attached to Appendix 1 and demonstrates that good progress has been made to date in terms of implementing the shared management approach. Work is ongoing to deliver further efficiencies through sharing best practice across both organisations. Happy to take any questions on the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? None at all. Okay. Can we approve the recommendations for noting? Yep. I think that's it for us all. Nobody got anything else, no? No? Okay, can I thank you all for coming along today? Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.